Hey, what's happening out there, YouTube family? This is Robert L. Jones Jr. again, coming at you with some more Tribal Judah poetry. All right. The first poem of the evening is entitled Africa's Majestic Excalibur. Yeah, it shockingly seems to be that absolutely tripped up and unexpected response of some heart attack evoking bewilderment and disbelief when all of those wrathfully manufactured consortiums of hatefully stirring trials and tribulations be hopelessly scampering away within their hastily escaping pathos of retreating both far and wide in those sevenfold directions of speedily fleeing departure and fearsomely running expulsion. And this is dramatically bona fide and also everlastingly official to the calcium-digging bones, brothers and sisters, due to the perfectly factual ensample of some willfully metallic drive and resiliency, which be truly exhibiting a mightily impacting intro of the impossible by proceeding forth extraordinarily strong and fervently sturdy from amid the feverishly testing crematorium of hotly enthralling hardships and devil-licking adversity. And right here before the frightfully frenzied gawks of eyefully begrudging scorners would a charismatically refined and vibrantly polished persona of silvery luminescence be a rightly down and ever together on that affluently stellar presentment of proudly manifesting a curiously brightened and uncommonly radiating embodiment of phenomenally lustering glow and shininess. For pyrotechnical yesterdays, madly fervid blazes of oppressively encumbering ordeals and distresses could never ever approach a head in mercilessly incinerating self into the pallidly discarded oblivion of awfully wasted out and stone traumatic ashiness. But in those crazily inflaming occasions of painfully momentary shift and transition, would a readily tenacious mass of copiously undergirded potency be positively enduring and patiently persevering through that stone kiln blasting process of some intensely purifying change and transformation, and be metallurgic alterations and the multiple modifications of soulfully innovating alchemy, be scientifically hip and effectually heavy in thoroughly purging my raw and rough cast alloy and boorishly tightened steel, and cleanly remitting it so efficaciously from any filthily unflattering dross and those hideously staining spots and blemishes of mentally defiling ugliness, of fallen character and fallible disposition, and a genuinely filtered out element of newly iron-bound substance would be powerfully materializing and thusly making its magnetically gleaming appearance before a pessimistically ritualizing scene of strictly naysaying adversaries with their robustly scathing arguments of stone-flawed and rantankerous defeatism. And shortly within the credibly instantaneous speck of an optically twinkling nanosecond, would fretfully astonished jaws and facially dumbfounded expressions of mournfully discomfited frustration be quickly humbled and catching some show enough gravitating drama as they be awkwardly colliding into the hurtfully chastising punishment of righteously karmic recompense and verity. And with the emotionally lavishing beatitude of some masterfully sterling bravado and stout-heartedness, will I get so sagaciously inventive within my dynamical vicissitude of metamorphic dexterity, and pliantly shape up my brilliantly burnished and stainless reputation into the razor-sharp and puissantly mighty cutlery of an invincibly wieldy double-edged sword, indeed, a prismatically extravagant blade of supremely whetted and incisively unblunted glory and showmanship. And deeply within this dimensionally regal exposition of some phenomenally Argentine pride and splendor, would my exceedingly sleek and sovereignly shimmering strength and existence be on the excitedly swift and poignant vocation of courageously swinging both broad and precisely in those proactively dicing, slicing, and splicing motions of horizontally quickened out thrashings, coupled with the uncompromisingly striking array of them unabashedly vertical slashings, and some rapidly diagonal slayings of radically decimating force and purposefulness, and a greatly multitudinal flux of nastily heady attitudes and angrily high-minded think tanks will all be massively lopped off and fatally amputated from the morally defective neckline with their prejudicially obsolete staples of negatively cold and endemic senselessness. And these freshly severed mentalities of manically discriminating bigotry are just beginning to hurriedly roll on straightway like vigorously tossed bowling balls, going down that sprightly whirligigging excursion to the bottomless gulf of a violently striking aftermath. For I, for reals, be Big Mama Archebulon's show no victory, esteeming an ever-conquering origination of a tirelessly warring brainchild fashioned up into that boldly sundering wonderment of a swiftly brandished out saber of undauntedly gleaming design and righteously revolutionary valor. And my truthfully extraordinary cipher of subduing and vanquishing conquest is always on that vigilantly awakening and avidly sharp-eyed function of skillfully skull hunting after them stupidly benighted conjectures and those rudely preposterous and presumptuous imaginations of hate, lust, and ignorance. For they all be just a beggar like Keith Sweat in them in getting deservingly subjected to the vengefully butchering extinction of a hostilely decapitating massacre, where a wickedly legionary host of racially gripping and stereotype hyping combatants done gotten themselves into that gravely beheading experience of totally castrated gray matter being voraciously separated from the ethnically unclean and unjustly mortified shells of madly morbid meditations and painfully decadent cogitations incarnate. And there they be as these rapidly dispersed remains of wildly scattered remnants of strikingly rotten futility, be immediately decaying like battle-ravished corpses upon the anathematizing dunes and unpardonable wastelands of perfectly forgotten inveracities and mindfully forsaken theses of urban folk loathing foolishness. And at the triumphant closure of another fate mastering AM, an imperially super bad dividend of enthusiastically winning reprisal is officially rewarded with powerfully presented amnesty to the marvelously regal treasure of Africa's majestic Excalibur of sweetly vindicated image and legacy. The second poem of the evening is entitled That First and the 15th Blues in the flattened offbeat key of struggle. Two totally limbered out and quickly enabled legs of sprinting determination, patiently jumping like a maddened acrobat through the many proverbial hoops of systematic institutions and those so-called charitable delusions handed down allegedly as supposed contributions of future ensuring restitution, which really don't fill up my lint-cluttered pockets with those pipe-dreaming expectations for some wealthy abundance, yet with the most supremely eager anticipation of a painfully perseverant beggar to be, two open-palmed and humbly drawn hands of shaky supplication become so nervously overwhelmed to death, as in suspended stillness within a wickedly frigid atmosphere, they suddenly appear before an uppity assembly of posh and extravagant decadence, for that seemingly bottomless hope of happily receiving nothing less than just the satisfying remnant of some leftover scraps and somewhat appetizing refuse from the richly blessed and sumptuous tabletops of self-proclaimed hierarchies and those famously infamous figures of flat-screen charm and internet grace and charisma. But it be these, a fictionally pseudo-majority, who realistically do not truly appreciate their many worldly experiences of wild carnal delights and wanton excessiveness of coveted pleasure, but instead will all perform that gluttonous offense of living lavishly off the large and buxom fattiness of human exploitation and angst-begotten misery, only to crazily throw away what greatly remains into that gross and unsanitary abyss of some unforgivable wastefulness. And here I woefully stand in the emotionally draining circumstance of bewildering shock and melancholy, as I seem to have absolutely nothing better to do with myself except to angrily observe these empty and useless pieces of funky bourgeois excrement with wildly jaded eyelids of justifiably outrageous hostility, a trembling stomach savagely weakened by the ever-grumbling complaints of wretched starvation, and a strongly clenched up fist of highly indignant disdain against all their creme de la creme attitudes of vain and superficial gaiety, that be sorely impoverished with the anemic void of a conscience full of unconditional pity, loving kindness, and fulfilling compassion. But two spiritually outstretched and proudly expanded wings of airborne victory shamelessly evolve themselves in the purely revolutionary showmanship of some eagle-crested rapture. And I would truthfully motion forth my feathery air-grabbers of ivory-clouded discovery to the dynamically aerial phenomenon of transcendent aviation, far above massa welfare soup-lining programs of ill-supported struggle, stress, and strain, and way over them terrifying concessions of a show-enough victimizing recession and depression, no question. And in that utterly sketchy cheesiness of some power-tripping folly and self-absorbed arrogance, all y'all naturally shallow worshippers of almighty dollar-grabbing and penny-pinching greediness shall begin on that dwindling mayhem of trifling away your own trivial behinds into those sickening conditions of disturbing astonishment and ever-consuming bitterness. As you will irately perceive this system existing recipient of the first and the 15th, getting positively hip to the hundredfolded wisdom of authoring out his newly scripted survival of the fittest, by no longer getting sadly strained upon the chump-changing mediocrity of monetarily dependent like a lowly slave upon your financially insulting offers of paltry ducats and minuscule morsels of so-called general relief, because this monetary have-not with less than burdening grief will eventually rise and shine within the mightily gratifying routine of once again having the highly bona fide reparation of a robust leather wallet, beautifully overflowing to the imploding seams with that crispy green opulence of some dead presidents to represent me so affluently. And gone forevermore will be those tumultuous periods of frugal anguish and travail, when it was so negatively customary for me to be so horribly thrifty in the economically stricken pestilence of being down and out in this luxurious land of effervescent plenty, without a rusty and scratched up pot to take a mellow yellow pea in, nor even a busted out window to toss it out. For I'm certainly committed to that never-ending belief that with the replenished pen of motivating strength and tireless inspiration, I will tenaciously translate the language of self from the billfold stifling conformity of debilitating poverty and be eloquently rewritten as a money-making testament of ever-abounding fortune, who would finally be joyfully knowing the many righteously thriving ways of some humanity-sustaining prosperity, from now on until the infinitely enriching dimension of a brightly golden eternity. Thank you so much for listening to these pieces. I hope you like what you heard. Please like, subscribe, share, and also you can also donate to Tribe of Judah Poetry as well. So, you know, if you're able to do so, please donate, and please continue to support Tribe of Judah Poetry. And I'll be coming back at you with some more poetry. In the meantime, I bid you shalom.